We are up. Okay, welcome back everybody to Concussion Sub Series IPL Auction Day. We have 292 players up for the grab. There are 63 slots, 195 crore rupees at stake, which is equivalent to 26 million US dollars. It is going to be a mini auction day in Chennai for Indian Premier League, 8 teams in scope. And today we have three special guests with us, Aditya, Mithun, Ramesh, and Syed. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, Suman.
Hey, guys.
Thanks, Suman.
Excellent. Excellent. So we have a packed agenda today. So from a perspective of what we are going to cover, there are three things we are going to spend time on. We will look at what is the auction format going to be, what are some of the rules, and what purses each team has got left for the next 3 to 5 hours time. And there are some Indian uncapped players we want to spend time on. So you will get to know something new during this show for sure. So starting with Mithun Ramesh. Mithun, walk us through what you think is the purse looking like for the teams.
So the most of the teams have retained the players from the past and made sure that they go with the core team, and also they will be backfilling few of the Indian players in the auction today, basically because the tournament is happening in India, and definitely they want to give opportunities for the Indian youngsters. Uh, each team would have already keenly observed the recent Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy and shortlisted the players whom they want to pick in the auction. Yeah.
Okay. And Syed, your thoughts of which teams have bigger purse and what are they planning to do? Okay, we seem to have technical reasons with Syed, but switching to Aditya, who is joining us from California, believe it or not, California. So, Adi, what are your thoughts of what are you expecting out of the next 3 to 5 hours?
No, this is a mini auction, so it will be interesting because the dynamics are very different. Some teams have like a lot of money left, some teams don't have that much. And again, that is a factor of how the teams have like their whole squad set out, right? So KXIP and RCB, they have like I think over 50 crores each, and they will splurge on all players. So it will be very difficult for any team to match them if they decide to go after a player. So it has a lot of undercurrents. I'm a firm believer that like 50% an IPL is kind of done in the auction room because if you don't have a balanced squad, it's very tough to churn out and put out those performances. So it'll be really interesting to see. I always every year watch the IPL auctions very keenly, and yeah, this apart from like let's say the playoffs, this typically or like the end stages for the qualification for the playoff, this is the most interesting part of like an IPL season for me.
Excellent. And from a perspective of players, uh, who are the two or three players we think are going to start making an impact in the first hour, or is it too early to call that out?
Well, there are a couple of players I think who will stand out given like their recent performances. One is
Mhm.
Glen Maxwell. He did not have a good time with the Punjab Kings, the newly rebranded team,
Yeah.
but he did really well against India in the limited over part of the tour. He
Mhm.
did really well in the ODIs and T20s. So I'm sure there are some teams who are, who want to grab him. And I also think Kedar Jadhav, he was sold by Kings 11. He was released by CSK, but I do think he can provide other teams with some value. And Harbhajan Singh, he's still not yet past his prime. Like I think he has a couple of years to go as a spinner. So these are like some major players, and then there are your perennial people in the auction, right? Like there's Finch, there are like a bunch of other folks. There's Marnus Labuschagne, who I'm like very curious which team will pick him up. So yeah, those are the big stars which I'm looking forward.
Okay, excellent. So we have the 8 teams first on our screen presentation. So let's walk us through Punjab Kings, as they are called. I have to make sure that I am conscious about it. No longer Kings 11 Punjab, Punjab Kings. They have 53 crores and 9 slots open with 5 overseas. Mithun, any key picks they're going to do? I think they released quite a lot of players. So are they going to go for Maxwell again at a lower price, or what do you think?
Maybe they might not go for Maxwell again. Maybe because of the past performance, what he had with uh, Punjab. So they might look for domestic all-rounders, or might be a couple of batsmen to backfill whom they have released, Karun Nair, Krishnamurti Gautam. So the released players, they might try to buy them back at the lower price, or they might go for the new players like Shah Rukh Khan, it might be, or Avi Barut, it might be, or an Mohammad Azharuddin. So they might look to
Okay.
backfill those slots. And also coming down to their purse, they have always team which goes in with a huge purse. They might not spend all the money, but they always have back of them to bid for their favorite players. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And then the second biggest purse teams have got is Royal Challenger Bangalore for 35.4 crores, 11 slots available. I think they are the highest slots available across the 8 teams. And they've released quite a lot of players. Are they going to go for local talent? Are they going to go for international talent? What are the views there?
I think they need to buy like a bunch of Indian players. An IPL team has 25 at max, and maximum number of overseas I think is 8. So um, you always have like you always need 7 Indian players in your playing 11, and I don't think RCB have like all of the 7, right? Like right, they have like 5, 8, 8 or 9, but you would need more players to buy. So they are missing a few in Indian players. I think they will look to go after someone like a Kedar Jadhav or Mohammad Azharuddin or other Indian batsmen, because more often than not, it is RCB's support acts in batting who falter, and that has been their challenge for a while. So I hope and I guess they'll go after those slots.
Okay. And there has been a lot of chatter, especially on ESPN Cricket Info, and even Akash Chopra was saying that where there is RCB in an auction, there is always fun. Earlier, it used to be Vijay Mallya, but now it'll be interesting what decisions they're going to make, especially with Mike Henson coming in, who comes with a reputation of a thinker. Moving on, Rajasthan Royals, who also have a little bigger purse. I think they are again in contention. They released Steve Smith and brought in Sanju Samson, new blood. What are the views on Rajasthan Royals, Syed? You seem to be
I
having
think
technical issues.
Rajasthan always relied on underweight side.
So are the Rajasthan Royals? So Steve Smith, are they going to bring him back as a non-captain at a lower price,
They
or?
don't with a heavyweight like what other teams usually have.
Hmm.
Yeah, like for Rajasthan Royals, they need like they need an overseas batsman. They might get Steve Smith at a much cheaper price. They were paying, I think, around 12.5 crores. He was their first pick to first retaining pick. So pretty sure they can get him at like a much lower price. So that is one. And I'd also think they'd want to buy more Indian batsmen. I think Indian batsmen are ones who are in short supply. Uh, if you go a few years back, Indian fast bowlers were in short supply, and the auction prices for them would be was getting inflated. Like everyone remembers Jaydev Unadkat,
Yeah.
whose price at every auction more or less goes up 8 crores, 10 crores, 11 crores. So I think this time it is more on Indian batsmen, and especially coming in who have performed in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy.
Mm.
And I'm pleasantly surprised that we have a lot of Indian fast bowlers. Every team seems to unearth like a couple of them. So that's good. But I think the focus will be on the batsmen, and I think many of the teams are looking to find those Indian batsmen because they form the core of your team, and you want them to continue to perform, and that's how teams build and take it forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what Sanju Samson's captaincy will bring in. It is good for India because in long run it will develop another leader. Mumbai Indians with a newly hired scout from RCB, Bad Blood, Parthiv Patel, 15.35 crores. Mithun, what do you think Mumbai Indians is going after? Arjun Tendulkar?
I think Mithun's having some technical difficulties, but on Mumbai, like I think it will be very interesting to see which team goes after Arjun Tendulkar because Mumbai eventually wants him, right? So their other teams can play a spoil sport and jack up his auction price, right? He's probably given his pedigree so far of what he has proven in domestic cricket. I doubt he's worth more than like 30 or 40 lakhs, right? So, but let's say you can have a situation where RCB or Punjab Kings, they might jack up the price by bidding for him, and Mumbai has no other option. But at least it seems like that they'd have to bid on him, and the price keeps on going up, right? So it'll be interesting. I doubt Mumbai would want to lose out on the opportunity of not having Arjun Tendulkar in their squad. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and from Arjun Tendulkar's point of view, one, he's coming in at a base price very low. Other teams will also be interested in picking up. But having bowled for Mumbai Indians in the nets, etc., I would think they are gunning for him. I personally feel it is slightly unfair for other youngsters across India to see Arjun Tendulkar straight up get a chance. Any reactions or thoughts there, Syed, about Arjun Tendulkar's opportunity? Because he was drafted into Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy to ensure he's eligible for IPL auctions, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Mumbai would not spend a lot of money, would not want to, because if you look at their budget, they have around 15 crores. And what happened to Mumbai during the retained player list was they dropped four of their overseas: Malinga, Pattinson, NCN, Counter 9, and they also let go of McLagan,
Hmm.
right? So they have only Bolt, who is an oversized fast bowler. So obviously they would want couple of fast bowlers like Jameson or Richardson, which I think will be other teams also eyeing for. So in that perspective, even if they want to go for Arjun Tendulkar, I don't think they would probably go more than a crore or something. So that would be a challenge for them considering they're having a low budget. But I think again it's a small or mini auction this year. Anytime next year again they can go bid for him also.
1 crore.
Right, and also one thing to add to that is in the IPL auctions, as we all know, players are bucketed into specific slots, right? So, firstly, you will have overseas batsmen who are like not overseas batsmen, but top pedigreed batsmen who are going to be like put in that bucket. So if you
Marquee
go down the
players,
path,
yeah.
by the time Arjun Tendulkar comes in, I doubt Mumbai might have money left to Syed's point, right? So it's they have to pick like the star players or like the fast bowlers they need because they released all of them. And I also think they might try to pick up someone like a Tim Saudi or
Hmm.
uh, they could look at all the other new bowlers as well. Like I think there is a chance they might pick up Mustafizur Rahman again. I
Hmm.
think he's doing. He didn't have a couple of good seasons, but I think he's back on the radar. He's doing all right. He might come back. That's an option. And also one other thing earlier I forgot to mention. Maybe Harbhajan goes back to Mumbai, right? So he was in Mumbai for close to a decade, and then a small detour to Chennai, and if they get him at the lower price, I'm pretty sure Mumbai would love to have Harbhajan Singh back. They did something similar, I think, with Yuvraj Singh when he was available, and not many franchises were looking to get him. They kind of got him at a low price. He didn't play many matches, but he won the trophy with them. So I guess that helps Yuvraj to have like a nice farewell memory, right?
Yeah, Harbhajan Singh. Yesterday, I was looking at ESPN Cricket for Preview, which Ronak runs, and he did a fun show of asking the guests to put up saying, "Okay, if you were an owner, and who will pick up Harbhajan Singh?" Unfortunately, in that fun show, he went unsold. So I think he's going to be top three of unsold players, according to me. Switching to before we switch to Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians.
Mainly, I think for his base price.
Go ahead, Syed.
So Syed had to say that maybe Harbhajan
So
Singh
mainly
might
because
go
of his
out.
base price, because it's
Base price. Got it.
2 crores, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Probably Chennai will buy him back, maybe. But Mumbai Indians, what is interesting thing is they let go all of their fast bowlers or most of the overseas fast bowlers. So I think they will definitely, like Adi said, will attempt for a another overseas fast bowler. Jai Richardson probably they'll go for. They are known for picking up in the fascinating players. And Jai Richardson or Kyle Jamieson, who Gautam Gambhir thinks that is next Andre Russell. I've never
Right.
seen Richardson.
Kyle Jamieson, and I also looking at what the other overseas fast bowlers were available. I
Mhm.
think Mark Wood would be a good addition. Like he bowls really fast, he's accurate, he bowls Yorkers. He's done really well for England. So he is one other option, and there is Adam Milne as well, right? So he has done well for New Zealand, and there's a chance that he might come in as well. And there are a lot of options. KXIP has released, sorry, not KXIP, Punjab Kings have released Sheldon Cottrell, and there are a bunch of other fast bowlers who are available. Team Saudi is available. Maybe they buy back Mitch McClenaghan, right?
Mhm.
I didn't understand why they let him go. He's been there for so long and he's not that expensive. So probably they'll buy him back at a lower price. So a lot of fast bowling overseas options for them to choose.
And is Markwood available? I thought Markwood backed out or he's not available for this season.
I think he
Interesting.
has backed out and he's not available for the
Yes,
auction. Yeah, the latest
Oh,
news is
okay.
that he's
he
backed out.
backed out today
Oh,
morning.
Oh, just today morning. Shit. I was looking at the PDF which the IPL website put out. So that obviously hasn't been updated yet. Okay.
He has told the reason that he wants to. Yeah,
Okay.
so he wants to
And
spend
then
time with his family during the time of IPL.
moving to Chennai Super Kings, they have a bigger pot alongside as well, 20 crores close to. Are they looking to bring back Kedar Jadhav? I was surprised they let go Kedar Jadhav, who was in close vicinity with Dhoni. Do you think they'll bring him back, or are they looking for an captain replacement after Dhoni goes next year?
I think Kedar was expensive. He was 6 or 9 crores, something around that range. I don't remember the exact number. So there's a good chance they might get him back for 2 to 4 crore range, and that helps them with the overall budget. And as you see, they have just one overseas slot left. So last IPL, I think for CSK, the biggest challenge was Indian batsmen. They
Mm.
did not have backups, or at least they had them, but they did not try them. Right, that is the main challenge. You have players like Hanuma Vihari, or you also have someone like Karun Nair. These are proven Indian players, but not in the thick of things in terms of form. But
Mm.
maybe CSK can take them and provide them that opportunity to open the innings, or be in the top two, because you don't have Shane Watson as well this year. So they need to look at the opening slot as well. And I think they look to make some good Indian buys, Indian batsmen especially.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
Dhruv Shore again might get a chance of getting into CSK because of his stability in the middle order. Uh,
Okay, excellent. Delhi Capitals, they released Sandeep Lamit Chane, who I thought was a pretty good pick for them. And I don't think he ever got a chance to play. Any others will be interested in Sandeep Lamichhane? Maybe Kings, Punjab Kings.
Maybe Mumbai Indians might look to backfill the bowler slots, and he
Hmm.
might be also be a backup for Rahul Chahar because that's something which they look for because of the long tournament. And on Indian pitches, you need spinners, so they're definitely going to look for Sandeep Lamachi.
Mhm. So, what are Delhi Capitals looking for with 13.4 crores? Not much money, but I think they will look for two or three big power hitters because their top order is almost set. Their bowling department is almost set. I think they'll look for a middle order all rounder of sorts.
Bowling department, I personally feel they just have two Indian quick bowlers there, Avesh Khan and Ishan Sharma.
Hmm.
They might look for some Indian fast bowlers. Maybe they might go all out against Umesh Yadav, or it might be Iqbal Mariwala, or it might be any other Indian fast bowlers like Chaitan Zakaria. So
Hmm.
they might go against them to give a support to Ishan Sharma there. Mhm.
And I also like I'd throw out like Ankit Rajput. I think he's pretty good. He had a decent IPL. I wouldn't say amazing, but he's okay. He has like a lot of pace. Rajasthan released him, and I think franchisees like Delhi or maybe Mumbai or even RR again who
Hmm.
want an Indian pacer, he's a good buy in my opinion.
Okay. Switching gears, Sunrisers Hyderabad, closer to home for Adi and me. I think they are looking for an Indian middle order solid batsman who will play all 14 games. Is that as simple as that?
Yeah, like I do think last season I was pleasantly surprised how well Virat, sorry, not Virat, how well um, uh, Abhishek Sharma,
Hmm.
and then you have your India under
Yeah.
19 captain who has come in, right? Who
Hmm.
who has done really well, Priyam Garg, right?
Hmm.
And then and then I forget the third person as well, Abdul Samad.
Abdul Samad.
Yes, all three of them are very young. I think in the 20 to 23 age, and all three have shown a lot of
Abdul
promise.
Samad. Abdul Samad.
And then they also have this other guy, Virat Singh from Jharkhand,
Hmm.
who plays really well, who has had great domestic seasons, but he did not get a chance. Hmm. And
Yeah.
then you had Vijay Shankar who was injured. So I think actually for after a long time, I'm not as concerned about Sunrisers India batting. India's Indian batsmen.
Hmm.
Previously, it has been a big hole, and you had to bring random players and hope that Warner Williamson or Bairstow or
Hmm.
someone else hits the runs. Right. One key spot I'm interested in. They have an overseas spot available. Right.
Hmm.
I hope they buy back Shakib Al Hasan. I think he brings a lot of stability to the team, and he can bat at number 4 and bowl 4 overs on every like
Hmm.
almost every match. And if you have Shakib Al Hasan, you can play Rashid, Williamson, Warner, of course, and Shakib. Jason Holder has been great, but I don't know if he will be as effective in India. And I'd rather have someone like Shakib back, like roll down the red carpet for him. He's been there at the franchisee, and I'm like pretty bullish on him. And then I would also want SRH to try and pick a good Indian spinner. I think where Nadeem was all right. Nadeem was decent. I think he had a
Hmm.
few good matches, one or two matches not so great. But I would like them go after an Indian spinner. I wouldn't mind them going after someone like a Piyush Chawla as like a
Hmm.
backup. I wouldn't want him in like the playing 11, but having someone like them would also like kind of help them round out their whole squad.
Yeah. My view on Shakib is we might as well continue with Mohammad Nabi and give him a chance as opposed to bring Shakib because one of them have to sit, unfortunately, because our overseas squad is pretty good. My push will be get another solid batsman to support Manish Pandey. One of the reasons why Manish Pandey cannot push to his full potential is he knows that if he gets out, there is nobody to support. So if somebody like Kedar or Shivam Dubey, maybe, if one of them slip in, I think we will have a good dynamic middle order, and that should bring us into like top two this year if you were to win the IPL from Sunrisers.
Right, and also perhaps because they dropped Willie Stanley,
Mm,
maybe it might make sense to just take another overseas fast bowler, like as a
mm,
replacement for him.
yeah.
We talked about all the overseas fast bowlers who are available. Maybe it makes
Mm,
sense to buy one of them and keep them as a backup. But yeah, like for me, Shakib, he's a world-class all-rounder, if not the best all-rounder in T20 cricket, or not just T20 cricket, but overall. I
mm,
think he has that to offer. But I do understand, like Nabi is just sitting there, right? He's also an amazing all-rounder, but it is that's how it is. So let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Shakib and buy a couple of Indian batsmen. I do agree with you. A Shivam Dubey or a Kedar Jadhav will be a good addition, and maybe they can try them if one of the Indian youngsters is not performing as what we would hope for.
Yeah, and
okay.
also I feel coming down to the spinners, they might also go all out against Krishnappa Gautam, being an off spinner
Mm,
all rounder. So they might try him out, and also they might go against Chennai spinner M Siddharth, who is also very good, who had a very good Syed Mustaq Ali trophy. And also there is another spinner from Bihar, Captain Ashutosh Aman. He is a veteran, but he was the highest wicket taker in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. So they have quite a good options left this time in the spinners positions. So they'll all be keen to look at these performances. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, makes sense because I think it will all depend on which overseas players they pick. They just have three slots, right? So in that one is overseas, so I'm pretty sure they'll buy. Then depending on which overseas they buy, let's say if they buy Shakib, they'll probably want to go with a fast bowler. If they buy a fast bowler, they'll probably want to go with a couple of spinners.
Mm,
Right? Sense.
okay. And then quickly wrapping up KKR with the new captain of On Morgan. They have 10 crores, 8 slots left. Any picks they will be after?
I think Indian middle order batsmen. All the teams are going after Indian middle order batsmen, and even I think KKR needs one of them because of the looking at their past performance. They were highly relying on Ian Morgan or Dinesh Karthik to fire in the middle order. If because Andrew Russell and Narain failed in the last IPL, so they might look for somebody like Azharuddin there, or it might be Shah Rukh Khan. Who has already played once for Chennai under Dinesh Karthik captaincy. So he might be keen to get Shah Rukh Khan there. Mhm.
Yep. Okay, switching to five key rules which the teams need to keep in mind. Of course, they have 85 crore pod allocated. I think the second rule is interesting. From total money allocated, which is 85 crores, each franchisee has to spend at least 75% of the amount. So definitely, Kings 11 Punjab, RCB, and Chennai Super Kings will look to shell the money out because they have. Right to match is not available, so whoever the players released have to go into the pool. Rule number four: both minimum and maximum capping has been set over squad strength by BCCI. The number of players in each squad cannot exceed 25 at any combination, and a minimum of 18. And then the fifth rule is capping has also been set by BCCI over the signing of Indian and overseas talent. Franchisee can have maximum of 25 Indian players and a minimum of 17 Indian players. Similarly, each franchisee can have maximum 8 international. So, any worries on the five rules, or are these straightforward for the teams?
I think they're straightforward enough. I think the only one is RR might not spend as much. They've been very frugal, and to their credit, they've picked good players at dirt cheap prices, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that is the only issue that might be there. All the other franchisees know that we need to pick a certain number of Indian players. They're pretty good with all this. They do all sort of simulation auctions. Franchises are a lot better than what they were, let's say, 5 6 years ago, when they were like, oh, this team is picking someone. Let me also throw in the hat. But these days, teams are super clear. They have all these analysts. They have all these ex-cricketers who clearly know we are looking for XYZ, especially in these smaller mini auctions. And then,
Mm.
as there are no right to match options, teams kind of get what player they want. If they've decided, okay, I'm willing to play 5 crores, 10 crores for this player, they will get them. I think, having said that, the next auction will be really interesting because hopefully we'll have at least one new team. So all the players, more or less, very few will be retained, and everyone else will be in that pool. That will be like a massive auction, and that then weird things will happen, right? Because teams have to start from scratch. But this is more. It's very limited, the scope of this auction. I think it's just on RCB and KXIP to build like a strong squad because they have core players. Now they have to build like other players to ensure they are competitive.
Okay. Good. So, lot to look forward for. Next 4 or 5 hours will be exciting. I know it is a mini auction, but IPL always generates excitement, whether it is auction, whether it is preseason or playoffs. Switching to the last segment of our show, Mithun, 6 India unclapped players to watch out for. Walk us through these 6 people. Who these people? Of course, we know Arjun Tendulkar, but walk us through these people, who they are, and why they are important for the franchisees this year.
Again, so all these six players, apart from Arjun Tendulkar, have been consistently performing in the domestic cricket for India. So they have recently performed really well in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy, and they were among the highlighted players. Vivek Singh comes from Bengal. He has played a very good knock for them. Couple of centuries he scored during the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy, which has grabbed the attention of the other franchisees. And Lukman Marivela played for Baroda, and he was their highest wicket taker. So he's a veteran again, 29 years old. Uh, not The Indian pitch conditions are not new for him, so he has all the experience back of him. So the teams where they need a backup fast bowlers, definitely they're going to look for Meriwala. And
Hmm.
Vishna Salanki again comes from Baroda. He was their key performer to lead the team to the finals because of his all support what he got from the middle order. He was able to perform and take the team through with the help of Kedar Devdar up to the finals. So he is someone who will definitely be keen to get this opportunity in the IPL. And Azharuddin, a young sensation from Kerala, so came into limelight with a century against a formidable Mumbai bowling attack in Wankhede. So definitely he has made a name for himself with this knock, and a lot of franchises will look up for him. Yeah. Chaitan Zakaria was part of the RCB net bowling team last year in 2020. So definitely Virat would have keenly observed his bowling, and he plays for Gujarat. Um, so he performed consistently in the last Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. So definitely he'll be one to watch out for in the auction. Yeah.
Excellent. And all the folks, especially the under 19 players and the 6 uncapped or all uncapped players, their parents and families will be anxious because today either they are going to make it big because it is a big thing getting an IPL contract, or they unfortunately will have to wait for another IPL auction. So, isn't there a Nepal player, or there is a Nagaland player, isn't it, Mithun? So talk to us about
He's a
what he brings in.
He's a young leg spinner who modified himself into a leg spinner from an off spinner.
Mm,
So he has played consistently now for Nagaland in under 16s and under 19 level. So he's one of the bowlers who already the franchises have called. A couple of franchises have already called him for the Nets. Rajasthan Royals and Mumbai Indians have already called him. What I've heard from the people who have played his bowling is that he's pretty quick through the air and very steady, just like Shane Warne.
mm.
So he's pretty young and definitely a player to watch out in the future. May not get um, games to play in this year's IPL if someone picks him up. Might be coming handy in the future. Yeah.
Okay. And there are few associate nation players, which is Rahmatullah Gurbaz from Afghanistan, and then Ali Khan from USA Cricket. Adi, any views on him?
Yeah, I think he was in the KKR squad, but he got injured or something during the last IPL and he wasn't able to play. Having said that, I think a couple of Afghan players will get picked up. Franchisees have been looking at them closely. I
Mm,
wouldn't be surprised if Mujibur Rahman is picked again, right? I think he had a much higher price tag with KXIP. They probably let him go, but he bowls really well, especially in the power play or like the early overs. And I think there will be one or two teams which will be closely looking at getting him into their squad. And Gurbaz, who's been very active in all these T10 leagues or like
mm,
other T20 tournaments, I think there's a very good chance that he might get picked up as well. But it's tough because this is the challenge. What happens with all the IPL franchisees, right? Most of the support staff in teams are either from England or Australia, mostly predominantly, and they typically don't look at associate players or like players from smaller cricketing nations.
mm,
I I think SRH in that way have picked Shakib. Before that, KKR picked him as well, and then they picked Nabi and of course Rashid Khan. And Rashid has been probably the best spinner over the last 4 years consistently in the
mm,
IPL, right?
mm,
So I think teams need to look at players for what they are worth rather than the team which they are coming from. Another similar comment would be in terms of picking Bangladeshi players, right? They play in similar conditions. They are someone like Mushfiqur Rahim, who's not as well liked by Indian fans for other reasons, but he is a really good, dependable batsman, and he's a keeper as well if a team needs him. I really like Mahmudullah. He, I think, is a very good T20 player. He bats well. He gets you some overs. So these sort of players, unfortunately, they are put under the radar. No team
mm,
very seriously takes them. And before I forget, Sunrisers unearthed Mustafizur Rahman, right?
mm,
He was instrumental in getting them the 2016 trophy, right?
mm.
So SRH has been unearthing or picking picking players from uh, lesser known countries, if that makes sense. I think more and more franchises should take that up. You should look at the player if they're good enough, if they've had their capabilities and they've proven themselves in competitive T20 tournaments, they
Yep.
should be picked. Instead of picking uncapped Australian or England players who might be good, but it's tough for them in this in Indian environments, right? So unless they've played here, it's tough for them. It takes time for them to adapt and go. So those
Yeah.
are my 2 cents on this.
No, these are
And
excellent.
also,
And one other thing which teams will be interested to keep an eye is the recently concluded Big Bash League. Alex Carey is in good form. Alex Hales, who's an old timer, so it'll be probably RCB. I'm thinking RCB will go for him because he's in top form. He's been top scorer. And Mujibur Rahman, Adi, you mentioned, he had the best economy rate in BBL. So Punjab Kings will be again keen to see if he can buy back. But look, exciting times coming up. Hopefully, you guys are still awake after this. I know both of you are in a time zone which is probably as a peak sleeping hours. But let's look at what's going to happen. And over the weekend, we are going to do a deep dive of post auction. Hoping you both can make time for that. But this has been fantastic. We covered what the teams' purses are, what are some of the rules people need to watch out for, key players, and then hopefully the uncapped players. I think I'm excited for the uncapped players because it is a make or break for them. As much as it is a shame that not a Ranji team or a state team is make or break an IPL contract is, but that's how things are at this kind of stream. So all in all, good luck. Hopefully, all of your favorite players and favorite players and teams are going to pick whoever we need. I'm sure there'll be a lot to talk to, and the big year for RCB as well because they will push for a trophy win for what 11th year on the row. and hopefully they have some plans. Mike Henson brings in good luck, and Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, from what I hear, are not allowed to go into the auction due to the bio bubble, so which is understandable reason. So it'll be fascinating. Thank you, Adi, for joining in. Appreciate you making time. Mithun, as usual, uh, tons of information on uncapped players. Thanks very much. Hope both of you enjoy the IPL auction, and whoever's watching today, thanks very much.
All
Thank
right.
you, Suman. Thank you.
Thanks, Suman. Nice
Thank
chatting with you both. Bye.